What is up, everybody? It is Friday night. You know what that means. That means independent comics and independent wrestling. Welcome to Indie Alley. And we're here tonight to talk about everybody's favorite topic, AEW, and everyone's favorite new comic, Sera, the Royal Stars. Was that your favorite comic this week?
No.
It's very popular, though. There's a lot of people that like it. So
Yeah, it's a good book. It's just not my favorite.
All right. Put you on the spot.
Yeah.
So what's up, Fred?
Just spend a little time at the hospital this past week, but I did get some reading of books and ordering more books, more Kickstarters, things like that, but the usual.
Oh, and you have a Vault hat on right now,
Yeah.
which is very
Represent.
good idea. We're going to be reviewing two Vault books.
Yeah.
The book we just said, Sera, and we'll be reviewing Resonant. So, yeah, we might as well go ahead and kick into the comics unless there's any comic book news you wanted to share real fast.
No, but we're gonna hit up a book later on that's I discovered, but that'll be after these 4 reviews.
Okay. Sounds good. And you read a lot of trades this week, obviously, because you're at the hospital.
Oh, yeah, plenty of trades. Lots of things like Grass Kings. That was pretty sweet. I need to get into more Matt Kent stuff.
Nice. Well, that's good to know because we may be doing a show that focuses on trades. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into our comics for this week. The first comic is Road of Bones, issue number 3. There is no God but hunger. And the loss of their food has driven Roman, Gregory, and Sergei to the absolute extreme. Knives are sharpened and souls are searched as each man decides just how far he is willing to go in order to survive the brutal tundra. One thing is certain, though. One must die for the others to live. Escape from the Gulag takes a brutal and horrific turn in Road of Bones 3, written by Rich Dueck. Artist Alex Cormack, he's doing everything, the colors and the cover and everything. Lettered by Justin Birch, published by IDW. Road of Bones.
Oh, you ready for me to say something about it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Road of Bones. I remember us talking about it like a week ago because I was catching up on it, and I remember us saying that it felt like a survival book about somebody was going to get eaten. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
so there's no bones to pick about this one. But that's what happens when people get hangry. Because that's what they did. They were, walking around and stuff, getting a little lost, get a little hangry. I get like that too. If I don't get enough protein, but I never want to eat somebody. But I mean, it's cool. I still like this book. I like the whole the survivalness, the story is pretty good. I did not think that the guy that happens to die, I don't want to spoil it, but I didn't think he was going to be the one because they showed hints of other people, and I'm surprised that some people survived. Let me say one thing though. This book, the art by Alex Cormack, is beautiful in the way that he captures people's facial expressions. When they're surprised, when they're scared, things like that. It looks so realistic that it's so well done. And one other thing, I want to say is Duax's writing. What's with the monster, the lurking and stuff? Something's happened in next issue.
The monster was pretty cool. It came out of nowhere at the end of the book. We didn't see it. So is it supernatural or is it just a creature is what I'm starting to wonder. That's kind of the vibe.
Didn't they mention the guy's name, Dominic, how do you say that?
Oh, I don't know how to say the word, but I think that's the name of some sort of creature.
Okay.
And that, you know what, that's pretty common in a lot of cultures to leave out an offering for the spirits, the gods, the leprechauns. If you've watched what's the one on Showtime, that show, the Neil Gaiman show, American Gods. There's a whole episode where there's a guy that plays a leprechaun, and in the old days, they used to leave stuff out for the leprechauns, and the leprechauns would bring you luck. So, I'm not making this up, man.
My dad's side of the family's from there, and I've never heard that crap.
I'm telling you, man. Watch it. It's like the third or fourth episode of American Gods. Oh,
Okay.
Anyway, so basically the guy's leaving out food and an offering to this spirit demon, whatever he is, in order for him to like take care of him and protect him. And he gets in an argument with his friend about, well, I know you've been doing that. You've been stealing food. Why are you stealing food? And he tries to explain it to his friend, and his friend all looks at him like, that's a like child's fairy tale. I can't believe you're doing that. He's all, well, it's kept me alive so far. And it's obvious that he's leaving the food for something, whether it really is that creature. And I don't know how to pronounce it. You're right. It starts with a D, and it's a Russian word. I could look it back up, but I'm not. But that's basically what's the driving force in the back for Roman. Okay. I do know they were going to finally dine on somebody. We talked about that last week. And sure enough, it wasn't the person I thought was going to get eaten, but yeah. There was a meal to be had, a little bit of steak tartare.
Yeah. Yeah, what the one part that really stuck out to me when they were dining and stuff was where one of the guys had the glass of the cup of blood, and he said it's a vow to walk through hell together or not at all. Yeah. You're drinking the cup of blood, and man, that was pretty creepy. So are these guys going to turn into vampires too?
Not vampires in the like supernatural, glowy, glittery sense, but yeah, they're going to probably dine on human blood and some other bad stuff just to get themselves out of this mess. There's a reason that prison is where that prison is. Escape and survival is probably not likely. It is a pretty gritty book. I agree with you. It looks great because a lot of the book is white because they're in the snow. So the guys and their faces and the blood on their faces and just all that just pops off the background. And it makes it even more dramatic, and like you said, the facial expressions, the fear in their eyes, the disgust, as they're going to eat somebody, just all the craziness and the fact that they're probably going a little nuts. So all those things are really cool.
Yeah, and if you're queasy, I would say, with blood or something, even if it's fictional, there's a lot here. A hell of a lot, actually.
Yeah,
it's definitely like the art is, other than the facial expressions, the art is very graphic at times. That's something to just be aware of and stuff. But yeah, man, this is a great book. I do like the story. What is this, 3 in? I think it only is it a 5-issue run?
I don't know that. I don't know if it's a short run or not. I haven't done a lot of research on this book to know that. I didn't catch on to it until issue 2 when we decided to talk about it, and I went and bought 1 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Because everybody was talking about it, and you brought it up, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go check this one out. But it's a real enjoyable book. I definitely recommend it.
Yes, and the end of this book where it ends, there's a lot of stuff that's about to go down because we get the hints of something even worse than the guy killing his friend.
Yeah, it's going to probably take a horror movie kind of twist and turn. So definitely check it out. Road of Bones. Yeah. All right, our next book, we joked about this book at the beginning, Sera and the Royal Stars, number 1. Civil war rages in the empire of Parsa, and famine has struck. As the seasons refuse to turn, Princess Sera receives a vision from the deity Mintra, telling her to find the royal stars and restore them to the heavens. Despite her kingdom and her troops' need for her command, Sera embarks on a quest to find the fallen stars, now trapped on Earth, and save her people from dearth and death. Written by John Tucci. Art by Audrey Monk, or Moke, I'm not quite sure. Colors by Raul Angulo. Raul Angulo. Letters by Jim Campbell. published by Vault, Sierra and the Royal Stars.
This book right here is very interesting to me. One reason why is because this book has a feel like it's kind of like a Bible story, and don't get that like messed up. It's not like really religious, but the feeling of it, like there's a war that happens between the family themselves and another war. I think is it between brothers? I believe it's brothers. I think
so. I think the two kings are brothers.
Yes, they're brothers. So that there's issues with the family, but then like the princess, she is out at the war and she falls off a horse and she faints and she gets these visions. And then there's this kind of, I'm gonna say like an angel, but her name's like Mitra or something, I believe, and she tells her that she needs her help doing things, and she sees visions later on and stuff, talking to her, and she mentions, how does she say that? Sera was chosen to break the bonds that bind the royal stars to the physical realm. If she refuses, death to the house of the people of Persia. And that right there made me feel like this had like a religious feel, because it was like a religious experience. But Andrew, how do you feel about this book?
Yeah, I can see what you mean on that. It does sound like a biblical tale without the really, the spiritual part of religion, more like the stories of Old Testament, for sure. But I immediately thought Last Airbender. That's what I would say to somebody, is it had a lot of that, this big world and this big quest that these people are going to have to go on. And like you said, they just minorly touched on the other brother who's deposed, and he has a daughter. And you know what I mean? All these characters of good and bad, young characters that are on quests. And I like the fact of this, that it's a giant world. This book introduced a lot. I mean, a real lot. And it did it in a way that was very smooth. I didn't feel like I was overwhelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed with too much dialogue. I wasn't overwhelmed with a lot of exposition. It felt natural. It seemed exciting. The art is beautiful. I like it's, what would you say, Indonesia, Middle East, something like that setting.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it felt very old, very like an old, like you said, Testament kind of feel to it. The horses, Knights of Arabia kind of thing. But still a little bit, like I said, Last Airbender, a little bit of the Asian influence I felt. Now, all that said, I'm not sure this book is for me. I'm not a Last Airbender fan. I know the cartoon well. My kids loved it. All daughters growing up through their whole childhood were fans of the cartoon. So I've seen a lot of episodes, but it never quite clicked with me. But it is so well done that I have to give this book such high marks for what it is doing, even though it may not be the type of comic book I look for, per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can say the same thing. I mean, the story, at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be interested in this. But then when I started reading it, I was like, wow, this is really done well. And it's not just like the story itself with the dialogue, but it's also the art. It pops with the colors. So there's very cool color palettes in each sections of it. Like when it's nighttime and stuff, and you get the purples and the the darker pink tones and things like that. I enjoyed this book. I was pleasantly surprised, and that's why we have these two books on here.
Yeah, this is a beautiful book. If what I described to you is something you enjoy, if you like Last Airbender, if you like Knights of Arabia kind of thing, horses, swords, desert landscapes. So this isn't like Game of Thrones type stuff. This is it's very Middle Eastern, very Indonesia. It feels a little anime, the style of the art, so it has that anime feel. I wouldn't quite call it a manga. It doesn't go full on that direction. You definitely feel like these are Indonesians or Middle Easters versus actual Asian characters. I may be doing that correctly too. I apologize. They still may be Asian, depending on what part of the world this is supposed to be. But yeah, check it out definitely if that's your thing. And I definitely give this high marks. I would give this, if I were scoring some kind of score, it would definitely be on the high end. I don't know. I'm gonna make a game time decision for issue 2. And maybe read one more, but it's not like the other, like where I say you need to read 3 issues to know if you like it, because this is a good book, and I don't know if it could be any better to convince me to keep reading it. You know what I mean? Because it's just not something. I don't really like westerns either, so I wouldn't probably read a book about cowboys. I don't know, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I'm going to keep getting it because it's a vault book, and, you mentioned that I'm wearing the hat, so I'm going to represent Ride or Die.
I think this is going along. This is for the long haul, too. This isn't like some of these vault books that are just, 5 and done or 4 and done. They're expecting to go somewhere with this one. This is something we may be seeing 2 or 3 years from now still.
Yeah, absolutely, because it seems like there's a lot of world building happening in this book.
All right, let's go to the next book of the day. The Ride, Burning Desire, number 2. Samantha Vega learns that her old friends on the police force are just waiting for her to screw up and get sent back to a prison. And with that added pressure, her regret-filled nightmares of what put her in prison to begin with only grow stronger. Written by Doug Wagner. Art by Daniel Hilliard and Chris Bruner. Colors by Laura Martin and Rico Renzi. Lettered by Ed Dukeshire. Cover A by Chris Bruner. Cover B by Daniel Hilliard. Published by Image. The Ride, Burning Desire.
Okay, this book is how would you say, like a crime drama?
Yep.
And things get a little messed up in this issue because it takes you to this depressing place because you meet. I think she was a former dancer or something, somebody that Vega used to protect. She's having issues and she needs to get her life back together. She brings her daughter, who Vega kind of looks after, and she sees moments, she replays things that's happened, that she's been with these people, and you see the caterpillar every so often. There's a little toy caterpillar everywhere. It's a good book, but something terrible happens at the end. I don't want to spoil that. Mm-hmm. But I will say, now that you mentioned, I was like, man, I really like the art in this book, and there's something about the art. But I heard a name, and I didn't, because I had to buy it digitally. My shop didn't have it. Mm-hmm. And you said Rico Renzi did the colors, and that makes sense to me because
what I think, it's not spelled out very well, but Rico Renzi did the colors on story 2, I believe.
Oh, well then forget it.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's what I had to get you. I think Bruner and Renzi did the colors on the second story, and I think Hilliard and, is it Martin? Yeah, Hilliard and Martin may have done the work on the first story. It's not spelled out very well.
All right, then forget that I even said that. Oh. But it reminds me of Rico Renzi's coloring because the choice of colors is a lot of pinks and purples, because you're in a strip club and stuff, mm-hmm. and not that I've ever been to a strip club, the lights are down, you get a lot of colors like that. And Renzi, I remember him doing Quicksilver, mm-hmm. and that's a lot of colors that he used in that.
Yeah.
But I will say, it seems like if you like the art, like Martin Marazzo from She Could Fly, uh-huh. It has a lot of it feels like that. The colors are like that. It's done well. Yeah. Now for the second part of the book, well, I'll let you hit the first part.
Okay. Well, I'll hit the first story before we hit that second story that's tacked on.
Yeah.
This book is such a crime noir. But the difference between book 1 and book 2 is book 1 had a lot of humor. Book 2 mm-hmm. does not have the humor. Book 2 took a dark turn. It's the reason that's going to propel our lead character forward, and something bad happens. And Fred's right; it was kind of depressing. And I think the woman might actually be her sister. I may be wrong, but I think she's on the phone early on, and she's talking about her, and it might be her younger sister. I may be wrong. I read this earlier in the week, but that might be Samantha's sister. And then, Samantha's an ex-cop and an ex-con at the same time, and she's just trying to do the right thing and stay out of getting back in prison. And unfortunately, if you're the bouncer at a strip club, you're going to be around a lot of people that maybe are in trouble. And she has a good heart, and she puts herself in situations she probably shouldn't. And yeah, the book ends with something bad and possibly more bad stuff to happen. But this book is great. I really love the art. I agree with you. This is my type of art. The cars take kind of a back seat in this issue. The car does show up, but not as much as they kind of did a little before.
Yeah.
And I want more of that. I want that Camaro.
But that car is a little creepy. That car is lurking creepily.
Yeah.
I get like a Christine vibe from it, but maybe it's just me. Maybe I think I mentioned to you, like I'm looking for something. I'm digging for something, and maybe I'm just making things up out of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a supernatural. I'm gonna fall on the end of that's not something supernatural. I'm gonna fall on the end that somebody's in that car.
Yeah.
But it's a really.
But I will say.
Go for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. But what I will say is that this book seems like, if you ever seen Walking Tall with Dwayne Johnson, but it's a female version, and just imagine her being on tether. That's basically it.
That's basically That's a good call on what it is exactly. So do we want to hit that second story? That second story was like Psycho City.
If you thought the first story was depressing, wait till you get to the second one.
Oh man.
The second story was it was super dark, not only with its art style, but the story itself. You have a controlling mother, a daughter getting ready to go to prom. She gets all crazy. It's wow. I didn't expect that. I mean, I went from one thing and I was like, oh, that's a pretty bad story. Then I read this one and I was like, oh, well, that's even darker.
Yeah, that mother is like the mother in Carrie. Yeah, that's some real crazy shit.
See, there it is. We're putting it together. We got Christine with the car, and you got Carrie in the second. Yeah. See? Boom. Now you're starting to believe. You're a believer now.
Yeah, maybe I am. I put on my tinfoil hat.
Yeah. Yep. I already got mine right here.
Yeah, you may be right. But, man, that was not... Yeah, I'm with you. I started reading that, and I kept it going. I'm like, oh, man, is this going where I think this is going? And then those last panels, I was like, holy crap. All right, close that book, put it away. Wow.
It got a little dark. Like, she was like, oh, you don't even care about us, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, this chick, pardon my French, but she's Psycho B. But let's get to the book of the week.
Oh, the book of the week, yes. We are on to another Vault book, Resonant #1. A decade has passed since the first wave hit, unleashing humanity's darkest impulses and plunging the world into chaos. Paxton, a single father of 3, must venture from the secluded haven they've built to restock the medicine his chronically ill youngest son needs to survive. When the somewhat routine trip goes awry, Paxton and his children, now separated, will battle everything in their path to reunite. Written by David Andre, art by Alejandro Aragon, colored by Jason Wordy, lettered by Deron Bennett, published by Vault. Resonant.
This book right here, I can totally connect with. Reason being, you have a few kids, one with a physical disability, which I happen to have in our family, and then another kid with maybe asthma issues and stuff, which I have one of those too. But the thing is, with these kids, they have such a tight bond and stuff because of these things. And you get that feeling from this book, like the Paxton children. Mm-hmm. You see a strong family type bond with them. The beginning of the book, you think that from the beginning you're seeing the oldest daughter, she's like planting seeds or something, and it looks like it's all sunny and good times and things. And but the farther you get in the book, you're like, oh wow, it's like two different styles of books. But this is definitely like my favorite book of the week. I like the bond between the family members. I like that this is not like like most books you get a bunch of like white kids or white it's not that.
No.
This is kids, people of color, and showing like what a family will do for their loved ones is what I could really connect to, because like I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, I spent 4 days at the hospital with my son. I just felt that connection. This book really hit with me. The art I loved a lot. It's the first issue just is very intriguing to me, and I think it's going to take a turn to a bad place. But I'm gonna let you say what you thought about this book, Andrew.
I mean, first of all, you're right about the art. It's a beautiful looking book, and it's funny that I would think of this when I read the book, being that of what this week happened with another comic. I immediately thought Skyward as I started reading this book. And I know you're saying, oh, yeah, both, young black women, but it just had that same vibe, the way the dad interacted with the daughter. They're trying to go about their life normally in this world, but something's wrong with this world. Just like in Skyward, they don't have the gravity. There's something wrong with this world. Mm-hmm. And even though there's an introduction of two little brothers, still that connection between the father leaning on the older daughter, similar to what happens in Skyward, and Skyward's ending this week. So it was on my mind, and I immediately thought of it. I'm like, well, wow, if I'm going to lose Skyward, pretty cool that I'm getting this book to kind of take its spot, because it's also beautifully drawn, beautifully colored and painted. We do have a strong female taste, and she's disabled. How many comics do we have where the hero is disabled? Not many, And this girl is a badass. In just a little bit we've seen of her, she is a badass. I don't quite understand what the waves are yet. I don't know if it's supernatural. I don't know if it's some kind of electronic thing, what causes it, but basically we're in some kind of dystopian world. I also thought, what's the book, Book of Eli, with Denzel Washington, as he walks through the whole world? When the dad went off on his like search party thing, that's what I thought of. He's out there in this really nasty world in search of something, where the cars are just abandoned in the middle of the road, and he runs into somebody who's obviously been out on their own for a long time and is dangerous. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. This is easily the book of the week for me. It hit all the points. It's beautiful to look at. It's well written. I like the characters. They're different. They're unique. You don't get a lot of, like I explained, that type of a character. The little brothers also seem very interesting, and they add a little bit of humor to what's probably going to be a little bit of a dark book at times. So really cool book. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's one thing in this book that, Andrew kind of puts out there, that if you read it, he mentions that he says the world is empty and full of nothing. So that it's going to take a turn to, it's going to show that this family's faith to survive and to believe in, to do what's right, but that they're going to go through some things.
Yeah. And the solicit even says they're separated, will battle everything in their path to reunite. So that's the major thread. They're going to have to, to get back together. And yeah, so I think the daughter's going to have to take a very strong role in protecting her little brothers. So yeah, lots of fun. Definitely recommend this book highly.
Yeah. For sure. It's probably, I think it's probably the best, well, I was going to say the best vault book, but you might fight me with Test, but it's my favorite vault book right now.
Yeah, I might fight you with Test. I might fight you with some things a little bit older, like Wasted Space, too. But yeah. But it's definitely a top book.
It's crazy, because didn't the company start like 2 years ago, and look what they've grown to be, and They produced a lot of good books recently, and it's only going to get bigger because I think there's like 3 or 4 new ones solicited past this one.
And I think they've gotten past the growing pains because somebody who started with them relays them too, I think. So
no, that's a aftershock.
Okay, what am I thinking of? Okay.
Like Wasted Space.
I know Wasted Space, but there's another book of theirs. What am I thinking of? Why is my brain going dead?
Is it a Heathen?
No, it's another something that came out around the same time as Wasted Space. It's another I don't know, it'll come to me in a bit. But those Wasted Space specifically would not come out on time. It was not there when it was supposed to be there a lot. And there was some delays and there was little things going on early on, and you don't see that anymore. I'm seeing them on the shelf, something I was not seeing when Wasted Space came out. Seeing them on time, always, multiple titles. So whatever, little like growing pains as they made that jump to become a bigger company, they're past that, and now they're rolling. And watch out, folks. They are putting out great stuff.
That's true, because I remember waiting for Friendo and Submerged, and they get pushed back.
Submerged, that's what it was. That was another one, yeah.
But it was worth the wait. But still, I mean, yeah, it's a growing company, and I just have a feeling that they're going to blow up real soon.
I'm missing Submerged 3 because of that. Because of the delays, and then when it did come out, I didn't have it on my pull list. I don't know, I screwed up. And so I had to buy it digitally for the third one to read it all. So that's like on my hunt for books.
So, yeah, if Vita Ayala is listening, send that to Andrew in Tucson, Arizona.
Yep, please do. It's a great book. Like I said, I read it digitally, one copy, so it's an excellent book. All right. So, Fred, you also were mentioning at the top of the show that you were able to read a Kickstarter book, I believe, right?
It's not necessarily a Kickstarter. I was looking at, I remember, I believe his name's Evil Ash on Twitter. He posted the pictures of his poll, and I happened to see this book, and it was called The Gallows Men #1. So I just, commented, and I was like, hey, well, tell me about this book, and he kind of mentioned something. And then the author, I believe his name is it Michael Nunley?
Yes.
He had commented and told us what the book was. Do you happen to have that there with you?
Yeah, I have what he responded to you, so I could kind of give the listeners kind of a synopsis of the book. It says it's about 2 main storylines. The first one being Patrick O'Leary, the said psychopathic killer, an emotional vampire. If one traumatic event could break a person, what about a dozen? And then the second storyline is a 500-year-old order of former gallows men, executioners, turned vigilantes against corporations, church, and state.
Yeah, that sounds wild, right?
Yeah.
That's something that's some Robin Hood shit, and I'm down for that. But what's cool about that is because that Robin Hood shit is done with, if you watch G.I. Joe, and these characters, the Gallows Men, they look like Snake Eyes. And Snake Eyes was my favorite character as a kid, because we used to watch, After the Bozo Show. Did you watch that, Andrew? Bozo Show?
No. You know what? We would get it, but because of the time difference, I'd rather sleep in than watch the Bozo Show. Sorry.
See, yeah, you're like a few hours behind us. But anyways, the book, or the, Snake Eyes, they don't really say anything. And what I've gotten from the first book is that the Gallows Men, they just come on, do their things, but they also do martial arts stuff. Because I was reading on it, and there's each, 1 or 2 different, I don't want to mess it up, but they have certain martial arts that they're good at, their field and stuff. Now, the Patrick O'Leary part in the book is interesting as well, because, he mentioned that there's, just imagine there's 12 different things that happen to him. I believe in this book, the first issue, would he have, 2 things happen to him?
I believe so. Yeah. I got a little lost there on the Patrick O'Leary story. I understood the second timeline a little better. But yeah, so Is he the one that, like, what's up with those commercials? Is that him too?
Yeah, I caught that commercial and I was like, wow, that's interesting, like, how that was written in there. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if that was him.
Okay.
But to see the like the things he went through, and then I read in the back of the book that it mentioned like his SAT score and stuff, or it showed like his score,
Yeah.
to show that he's a very brilliant person too. So I'm interested in this. I know Michael had sent me a thing today in my messages through Omen Comics. You can follow him on Twitter at Omen Comics. That's capital OMEN COMICS. You can follow him on there. Find out more information about the book. I really say like, man, I'm an indie dude, so I like like smaller publishers and things like that. Like you mentioned Kickstarters. I just recently ordered 6 Kickstarters in the last week because I was bored. That's what happens when I'm bored. I spend money.
You went crazy.
That's
I
why.
bought one, but
Yeah, I don't. They're like gremlins. You throw water on them, they multiply.
they multiply. Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah. But I will say, if you're interested in this book, you can pick up the digital book ordering at Kindle Amazon, or at Draw Me in Comics. And physical copies can be purchased through the Patreon .om/Omen Comics. That's a capital O on the Omen and a capital C on the Comics. Where you can get through the Patreon, you can get a subscription like I did. I happen to get a subscription to kind of support Michael and his team. And there's all different tiers on there. Or you can PayPal him through comicsomen@gmail.com, and he can send it to you that way. I definitely say, if you're into like Kickstarters or lower level books, this is definitely a book to check out. It's a lot of world building's gonna happen. I have a feeling of that, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. And Fred's gonna be awesome and send me that info, and I'll toss it into the show description. With maybe the links. I don't know if it'll let me do the links. Sometimes it can be tricky with the iTunes, but at least put the description and the names of where you can search his Twitter page and everything.
I tell you what, we can put it on the Twitter page and put all the links there.
Gotcha. That'll work. Yeah, because I tried to put a link to something last time and it rejected it. It's iTunes. But yeah. But definitely.
That's messed up.
Yeah, iTunes. Apple wants to rule the world. But well, definitely check it out. Give it a try. I'm a big proponent of indie comics as well. I didn't get this one particularly, but yeah, I'm always looking. I'm always listening. We do, doing a podcast like this, we do get offered some interesting stuff, and I've been lucky to read some pretty cool things.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've gotten to read some really cool things for free, and I mean, so hey, like what I really needed was more comics, but yeah,
right. There's some crazy shit, like some people sending stuff that like their kid drew and shit. I don't know. But this is not like it. There's the Gallows Men from Omen Comics is not stuff like that.
No,
Absolutely not.
No, I'm glad you found another one. I remember last year your big one was it Shumi or Shuri, the one about the girl about the human trafficking. That was a really good book.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was Whoa, that book was depressing, man. It tackled some difficult issues. So yeah, wow.
All right. Well,
but this book right here, you have guys going after religious leaders and just rich people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very ambitious.
I'm into that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
A lot of world to be built. Yeah.
Speaking of ambitious, we should grab Joey.
Yeah. It's time to wrestle, nerds. Where's your mask?
What mask?
You can't
I
see it.
haven't
It's scary.
That's not nice.
What's up, Joey?
Look at that face.
Hey,
How was wrestling this week? Did you watch a lot?
I watched all of them.
All of them. Damn.
Yep.
Which one you want to talk about first? We're going to
How about
let
we
you
start-
actually make a choice.
Okay. How about we start with the Ring of Honor?
Speak up. Say it with
The
your
Ring
chest.
of Honor.
The Ring of Honor. So we're talking about the episode, right? Not a pay-per-view.
Right.
All right. So this week's episode of Ring of Honor. What'd you think? Ring of Honor's been kind of in the dumps lately. Did they climb out?
Yeah, I think so because they finally caught up to what date it is. Like it's after Best in the World, and they were talking about the next pay-per-view, so it made sense, and it wasn't a bad show.
Gotcha. What would you say the highlight of the show was?
Probably the tag team match,
With who?
the 6-man match
Who was in it?
with the Lifeblood with Haskins and what's his name? What's the other dude?
Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy Williams and Bandito versus Villain Enterprises, which Flip Gordon sat out, so it was PCO, Brody King, and Marty Skrull.
Nice. Yeah, I know you're a Skrull fan. You guys like that match? I watched that match. You guys like it?
He pointed out a thing during the match. He was like, why is Marty Skrull acting like he's scared? Why are they making him act that way?
Ooh, burying him on the way out.
Well, there was places where he was like flinching and acting like he was afraid of things, and Joe was upset because he was like, that's not Marty Skrull. He doesn't act that way.
Yeah.
That's what they do sometimes.
Yeah, because when they had the Haskins and Williams just stood up and started walking towards him, and he got on his knees and told him not to. It's stop, please, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
That's no villain.
Yeah. It's the biggest unkept secret that Marty Skrull will be saying AEW by Christmas time. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not going to book him very well coming forward. Yeah, they're probably going to.
Yeah, that was a good match, though. I like the spots with PCO and Bandito where they went through the tables and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was basically a hardcore match, 6-man, and
Yeah.
bodies everywhere, furniture everywhere. It was good. It was exciting for once to watch Ring of Honor this week.
You were making fun of Brody King the entire match.
I did because Brody King is like a fat Aleister Black with he has no skills. I'm sorry. The only reason why he looks like Aleister Black is because he has black shorts on and he's tatted up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah,
I did say that.
the least, popular of the whole group. That's for sure.
Because I told Joe, I was like, he's the worst guy in that ring right now.
Yeah, he's
I
flipped
had to
better
think
and he
about it,
wasn't
and
even
yep.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed when Villain Enterprises walked out, Flip Gordon kind of dressed like Marty Skrull. So is that how they're gonna replace him?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I hope Flip knows what he's doing. I mean, it's a different ball game, being the man instead of having Marty Skrull take all the the spotlight and handle all that, and all of a sudden the spotlight's going to be on you to run that show.
Yeah, because he was always the good guy and the baby face, and
Yeah, he's got to learn how to be a jerk, but a entertaining jerk. That's the difference.
yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's good to see Bandito, doing what Bandito needs to do. And PCO, man, that man earns every dollar he makes. I mean, it's insane the bumps he takes. Just crazy insane. God, I mean, his chiropractor bill must be outrageous.
Well, you have to be insane to rock a haircut like that.
He might have a choice.
So you're saying that's his hair?
That might
That's
really
where his
be
hairline
hair.
begins?
That's where it ends and begins.
He's really... It's just half of his head?
It's possible.
Like he's a cyborg or something?
He burned his head in some kind of what's it called? Barbed wire flaming bat match in some kind of VFW show or something. Yeah, that guy's just nuts, man. The one thing is, I hate picking on Ring of Honor, but there's little things they're just not doing anymore. And that last spot was awesome. Skrull went. Is it Skrull? He went through the table, right? I think that's how it ended.
No, PC.
Am I mixing up
PCO
shows?
went through the table. No, PCO went
PCO
through
did?
the
Are
table.
you sure?
And, yeah, Bandito
For the
put him
final. Okay, for the power bomb at the
through.
end.
Yeah, right. No, no,
sure?
no. It was Marty Skrull. They snapped each other's
Okay.
fingers, and he put him through.
Yeah. The only thing is, then they showed the replay like 3 times from a different angle, and Bandito took the whole table himself with his legs. And I was like, oh, come on, stop showing that. Show the other angle. You know what I mean? You killed it for me. My magic was that Skrull just got annihilated. And then, you kind of... And it's those little things that's driving me nuts about Ring of Honor. But yeah, it was a better show. I'll agree with you.
I was going to say the good thing about Ring of Honor this week was we got no allure.
No allure.
Yes. No allure.
And
But unfortunately, that also means we got no women at all.
was there... I don't think there was any Bubba Ray, was there?
No.
Or no Bully Ray? Nope. And then we got the first in-ring appearance of the Soldiers of Savagery.
Yes. What do you guys think of that?
I thought it was pretty decent because they kind of booked them like kind of like Contra. Like they just came in and squashed, and that's something that I've never seen Ring of Honor necessarily do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They weren't bad. They reminded me of
everywhere
Sons of
else.
Anarchy. They reminded me of the what was the name of the gang from San Francisco? Is it from San Francisco? There's a biker gang, I think, in it. It's a black gang. If I remember, I can't remember what they were called though. They weren't the Mayans was the Mexican one, and then I don't know, but there was one. That's what I thought of right away. So I got a biker vibe off them.
So you're a big fan of Aces and Eights?
You like those dudes?
No.
Joe said you like those dudes.
No. But I like these guys. They were all right.
How about
it
the
does
Forgotten
help 'cause
Sons?
The tag team division does need some help because I haven't watched, but I've read what happens in the pay-per-views. And yeah, they need to bulk up the tag team now. So they can't be depending on New Japan to come in and save the day. They need to build up their own thing.
Was there another Ring of Honor match? There was no.
A what?
Yeah, the beginning match was what, like Jeff Cobb, Dalton Castle,
Yeah.
Kenny King.
Oh, that was bad.
And
Jonathan Gresham.
yeah. And they did the heel thing with Gresham where he talked to Lethal about how he wants to cheat now and he's not going to be a wrestler.
You just made me think of something. What's going on with the high heels and the feet? Okay, is someone over there in the booking team and the writing team like into feet that we're just ending matches with high heels all the time now? This is getting a little out of hand.
There's
He goes
somebody
down
has
and
a
takes-
foot fetish.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then he kind of holds on to the shoe for a while. And I was like, dude, give her the shoe back.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
He was all smelling it and stuff, checking it out.
Did he smell it?
I don't know if he
Checking it
smelled it, but he wasn't like giving it up like normal. Like, okay, I hit him with a shoe. Now here you go, ma'am. Have your shoe back.
He
Kinda
was
like-
checking the size. He wanted to see if he
Yeah.
could fit it.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, somebody on
You
that
never
thing
know.
is just too into shoes.
Probably Bully Ray. He's a freak.
He's a freak. He is a
Foot
freak.
freak. Bully. Bully is a foot freak.
All right.
We're
Probably
putting that out
likes
there
to
now.
lick. He licks toes. Bully Ray licks toes.
We're going with
Okay.
that. We're putting that out
Yep.
there in the universe right now. Right on.
Yeah.
And then there was a return trailer for a women's wrestler in Ring of Honor.
That was kind of cool. I will say that. Like, they look kind of cool. And then, wasn't there 2 trailers for women's wrestling?
I think so. Maybe.
So there are other women besides Allure that wrestle in Ring of Honor.
Good, because Ring of Honor needs to get that straight. That's not the direction they want to go. Not when you have these other companies doing so much better things with their women's roster.
Even AEW is doing better.
Yeah, and once we're not going to talk about Impact per se. as what's going on in that sense, but we're going to have a general discussion about independent wrestling, and they're really doing some interesting things with the females, especially Tessa. All right, so yeah, I didn't see anything else in Ring of Honor we're talking about, unless there was something else you had, Joey. We can move on to MLW.
It sounds good.
So the opening scene, your girlfriend was there with blood all over her face, having a picnic and some kind of scary dark.
His screensaver for his phone.
I can go show you. I'll get my phone. That's not my screensaver. It's your screensaver.
Yeah. Whoa. Better be careful.
You got all types of posters in your room and stuff.
But yeah, she started off with some kind of freaky, like doing some kind of voodoo stuff or something, doing the Bruja thing. So they're going to go kind of like with a supernatural theme, and she's going to call Bestia to come take care of Mance. So we have that to look forward to.
Mance is pissed off too. He's dramatic pause. Selena!
And then Conan has the phone. We found out what happened to the phone. Conan had it the whole time. And he said all kinds of nasty stuff about her in Spanish. Boy, they get away with some stuff in Spanish. Woo. But the show itself was not my favorite because they're still at that venue. And I'm not a fan of that venue. And I'm especially not a fan of those damn horns. You know, those horns got to go.
Neither is the old lady. She's like, turn it down. That's annoying.
You talking about the horns in the crowd?
Yeah, your mom kept saying that. Your mom kept saying that the whole time. Turn it down. It's annoying.
Well, you just don't watch AAA then, because it's every 5 seconds.
You know what, though? In AAA, the audio's so bad that I don't really hear them. So it's okay. So, but this was like loud. Like really loud. Almost like...
I think it was only one person, too.
Might have been.
And you were talking about how it's like not as good. Like the episode wasn't even as good. But even with all the main event guys, like the Parks and the Wagners.
Yes, the Wagners.
They're German Mexicans.
Yes.
Wiener Schnitzels. The Wagners like Wiener Schnitzels. The fuck is that? They can't even pronounce W's in Spanish.
Yeah.
That's German.
Yeah. The combination
what was
of the
going on
horns
there?
And Cornette, I had to mute it. Because Cornette was like doing the Wikipedia version of Lucha. It was just drive me bonkers. Yeah, he obviously had no clue what he was talking about in this one.
He like felt like he was like, oh, well, I knew I was going to call him the Wagners once, and like corrected himself like right away, and he was mad.
Can they not say that on there? Is that like owned by AAA or their last name or
maybe that's you? So
they had to call them like Germans.
I guess. I call them the doctors. I don't know. Something. But, yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't know that. But he just seemed to really not know and not care about Lucha this time. And I know he's not that big of a fan of it, but he didn't even try. This was a huge match. The reason that place was full was because of this match. You know, people went there for that. They don't get to see those guys up north like that.
That's why the horns followed.
Right, and he even mentioned it. He said this is like putting Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock in the ring together.
So they can say that, but they can't say Wagner.
Just not. I guess Conrad's closer friends with Vince than he is with whoever runs AAA. But yeah, I mean it was okay. And then you had the Davey Boy and Meathead Hammerstone.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a bad match. I can tell you that when they lose MJF, that the dynasty is going to hurt. They're not the same thing without him, for sure.
Well, yeah, because Hammerstone shows that he cannot talk.
Yeah. And the other guy's not that good either.
You said these like Scott Steiner. But Scott Steiner can do math though, at least. But we've yet to see if Hammerstone can.
But I immediately got a Scott Steiner vibe on his long promo. I'm like, where the hell are you going? One of those things where you pause and look to the left, look to the right. Did he just say that? Yeah, he did say that. But I'm still a big fan. There was no Contra because, again, they're still at this show. So they're showing us cut up pieces of this show. So there's no Contra to show us, really. Oh, that's not true. Simon Gotch was there, but, yeah, there was basically no Contra.
Yeah. They said next week, though.
Mm-hmm. Because they'll be back to their normal style of shows next week.
No, that's the same place too. And then,
really? Oh, okay.
I think actually tonight they're taping for the week after. I think they're in New York and they're taping for the week after.
Yeah, they're taped.
So the next week is the Bestia and Mance Warner, and then you have the who. Who are the dudes? Shit.
What?
Help me out here. Are you paying attention?
Yeah, I'm trying to help you. You're just
hell?
making noises.
Who's old here? Me or you? I should be the one forgetting stuff.
You are.
I can't think of their name.
I can't hear
Contra. Who's Contra
Luchadors?
Wrestling?
Which ones?
Who?
The Hearts? Luchadors?
No, the Redneck Kids.
The Redneck Kids. Oh,
Oh my God!
from Hawaii?
This is gonna have to get cut out. What are their names?
There's redneck kids.
Chill. What
Since
the fuck?
when?
Do you mean, what's their names? The Von Erichs?
Yes, there it is. Ding, 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 ding. Nobody got that. Where are you at, Joe? You're
Already.
sitting there looking clueless and stuff.
Yeah, the Von Erichs.
Yeah, the Von Erichs versus. Okay, what was my point I was making? I just forgot.
That they were going to be
Von
there?
Erichs
Are you sure they're going to be
and
there? Wow.
I think they wrestled Contra.
They wrestle Samael and Gotch.
Wow. I didn't think they were at that pay-per-view. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the matches too.
Mm-hmm.
So we got those two matches: the Bestia and Mance Warner, the Von Erichs,
That match is gonna be.
and Contra.
Those matches might be okay, actually. I'm okay with
Yeah.
those. I mean, MLW is still entertaining. Just I do worry without MJF where they're going to go. You know.
Yes, and then we just found out today that they just signed a contract to work with Noah
Yep.
from Japan.
We can dig a little deeper into that when we move on to our indie discussion. But before we jump into the indie discussion, one last thing. G1 Climax. There's only one performance this week. There was only one show, but there were some great matches on it. What was your guys' match?
What was your match? I don't. Wait.
Come on, I'm giving you first match because you said I stole your match last time. So
I think 2 days that we didn't cover. We didn't cover the Ishii versus
so we didn't cover
Moxley.
last Saturday,
Friday.
and there was a Saturday too.
Was
I
it?
think
Yeah, we didn't do last Friday or
Friday, Saturday, Wednesday. Okay, 3 days. Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Wednesday.
Are we covering the one from today?
Your favorite match out of those 3 days?
The one you watched
I'm gonna
today
say
was probably
Ishii,
Wednesday.
Ishii and Moxley.
All right. I don't know. What is it? Naito had a good match against Ishii. I want to say that.
Okay.
That was from Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm going to go back
Alright.
to Saturday and go, I think it was Saturday. I'm going to go to the Osprey Okada.
Oh yeah, forgot about that one.
That was a good match. Osprey, man, Osprey hit him with every single thing he had. Every single thing he had pretty much and lost. Man, that was not cool.
What about the chop across the chest by Ospreay to Okada?
Dude, I almost thought if that was a mistake and he hit him too hard. Because he was down for a long time, and even the ref's eyes got big when that happened. If you look back at
Yeah,
that.
it was even for strong style wrestling where they're used to those hard hits,
Uh-huh.
and it was like he wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, he knocked the crap out of him. And I think part of him staying down that long was real. Yeah, If you look back, I went back and rewinded. Even the referee's eyes pop out of his head like, holy shit, did you just do that? I don't know what happened there. I don't know.
It's crazy because, Okada is the leader of the Chaos. And we have, the young lion up and coming that eventually will probably end up taking over to lead this. Or, and it's crazy. Like, he seemed a little timid in the beginning of that match to wrestle Okada because he's wrestling the leader of their faction.
Yeah.
But later in the match where that chop took place, he didn't care anymore.
Yeah. Dude, he hit him with everything. He hit him with so many. He hit him with the Oscutter. He hit one on the floor. He hit him, but he couldn't beat him. It was a pretty good match. Definitely keeping Okada. Okada's going to the finals. I think that's the story they're telling. Is Okada's going to be in the finals. Yeah. So Okada versus Moxley, and Moxley's going to lose to him.
I'm kind of thinking Toru Yano might be up there. Because he's winning, like, everything. Stop.
Toru Yano's not going to be in the finals.
I just threw him off the chair.
Zack Sabre has a better chance of being in there before Toru Yano.
No,
really.
I really think that Jay White's going to run off 6 in a row, and he's going to be in it.
Oh, so he's going to do that, he has to beat Moxley. He has to beat Naito.
Moxley has to lose to somebody.
He has to beat Naito. And so it's not just that he has to win. He has to beat some pretty...
Well, yeah, because Moxley has Yano left, White, and Naito.
Yeah.
Your pick to win was Naito. So...
Well, Naito could still get back in this mix.
Mm-hmm.
And my pick was Juice Robinson, so...
Yeah, no one wants to see that.
He's looking good. And that was a funny match. I love that match. When Yano's sticking his hand out to him to shake hands, and Juice is all, I mean it. No fucking bullshit. He goes, better not. He's telling, you can see him. There better not be any more. No, and Yano's all, no. And then he tries to roll him up. It was great. So, I love Yano. I need that in the mix of these long matches to have a little bit of comedy. It works. Kind of breaks it up a little bit. Anything else from the G1 standings? You see, you guys anyone want to change their pick?
The only point I want to make is that Jon Moxley can go to Japan and just dominate, and they book him correctly. They make him look strong. They focus on all the things. He also doesn't bounce off the ropes and try to clothesline anyone like 3 times like he used to in WWE. Like, that move was terrible.
He worked the body part.
Traditional old school he's wrestling. Winning different ways. Yeah, and he's showing physicality, like when he's fighting Ishii, or he's fighting Shingo today. Today he fought, or was that today or yesterday? It was yesterday, but I watched it today. Shingo, and that dude's a badass too. Like he's taking on all these bulldogs and just fighting them. Like, I really think Moxley can actually fight.
You said Shingo is losing to only white dudes.
He does. He's getting booked that way.
And then
those Japanese guys up top are racist to Shingo.
It's because he's a junior weight, right? Is that why he's probably getting beat? That's their excuse. Because Ospreay's taking a lot of hits too.
Yeah, he's young. I think like him, Ibushi, and Ospreay are like the junior guys that are fighting with the big dogs.
Well, my pick is still Ibushi, and I still think he might sneak in there and surprise everybody. So he had a great match against Sonata, and yeah, he keeps on going. So I still stay my pick, but you're right. The Moxie, Seth Rollins needs just to shut his mouth. He hasn't had a good match since before WrestleMania. And for him to be talking smack when his buddy's putting on classic matches like every other day right now, with real opponents instead of fighting, what's his name, Baron Corbin. So, I don't know. Well, I kind of wanted to throw out a discussion about just indie wrestling in general. And I was thinking about it because of three major things happened this week that made me think about it. One was I listened to Fred, guest on another podcast. He was on Matt's podcast, and they talked about some of the problems at ROH and what does ROH have to do to get better? Can they get better? All that. And then we had that reunion show on WWE. And I was thinking, wow, I mean, WWE is just basically bringing out all the old toys from the attic to remind me what used to be really good about WWE and really highlight what I don't like about it now. And then this announcement that AEW starts television on Wednesday. And I started thinking, wow, the whole landscape of wrestling is being flipped. So good, bad, ugly. Is there anything out there particular that like you're excited about, you're scared, like it's going to mess something up, or a certain promotion, or just the direction wrestling's going? What do you guys think about just the general state of wrestling, especially independent wrestling?
I think that the WWE will be put on notice because they're already scared of AEW. Because they're mentioning that they might put WWE superstars on the NXT show when it happens.
Yep.
So I think they're scared. That's why they did the Evolve show, where they kind of like to align themselves with Evolve to show that they can do indie stuff and that type of wrestling style. But do I think that if anybody's scared, it's them? I don't think New Japan's scared of anything because they put on some of the best tournaments in the world. Mm-hmm. They have some of the best wrestlers in the world. People don't know.
I think WWE just needs to, like, if they're going to be the top brand at the moment, they still are, and not have good wrestling. Like, they got the right guys and they got the right workers, but they're just not doing it right.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I was going to say, the reason being that they're not doing it is with any corporation and being in charge of a bunch of different. Okay, my career in the beginning was to be in charge of a bunch of different stores. So if I wasn't in charge up top and in total control and making sure they all ran well, then we would suffer. Every company starts at it all starts at the top. So you start with ownership, then management, work your way down, then booking. But it ultimately comes from ownership and the CEOs, because they're the ones putting these people in these places to make the decisions. Mm-hmm. So I think for WWE, they're struggling because of Vince McMahon. I think Ring of Honor is struggling because their ownership and their booking. I think Bully Ray is part of that because I think he has a lot to do with them. But then I think you could go to New Japan, they're booked correctly. You could go to MLW, they're doing things the right way. It seems like they're trying to expand more. Yep. Impact has an issue paying their people. That's going to hurt them. So that starts at the top too. So everything that, like, it starts at the top. And then, AEW, I don't think I'm too concerned with Tony Khan. He's got a lot of money. I mean, what's he going to do? Sell a soccer team if he struggles? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to hit some of the things you brought up really quick, Fred. The NXT thing is an interesting thing because I'm hearing they might even be on FS1 just to go against AEW because it makes sense. I'm sure there's a lot of crossover fans between NXT fans and AEW fans, so you're going to force fans to make a choice. What do I record? What do I watch? Versus, because if they go live, that's the difference. NXT's not live now. So it's very easy to say, okay, I can watch NXT later, because it's taped. It was taped a week ago. It was whatever. But if they start rolling live and they start going, full throttle, that could pull some fans from AEW. And then what you said that I don't like the fact that they want to bring wrestlers down. I think they could end up screwing up the NXT product by making it like a WWE show. And if NXT becomes a WWE show, like SmackDown, then they're going to lose the fans. What do you guys think? That's not what fans want.
it depends on who they're pulling down, because if they're pulling down Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, we don't want to see that on NXT. We want to see the guys that aren't used, but not just like a 205 Live, throw them in 2 matches, nobody cares what happens. We want to see like Aleister Black and Ricochet down, like Apollo Crews down. If that's what they're going to do, that's the type of people they need to bring down.
What if because those guys come down, then Punishment Martinez doesn't get any ring time? What's the new guy that you kind of said is like an Apollo Crews? The new guy that just won the other day. He's from the Indies. Smiles guy.
Yeah, Jordan Miles.
What if he doesn't get any time? What if all those guys all of a sudden get benched because there's only 2 hours and you bring down all these guys?
There's like 3 matches on NXT, so they can make it like a big name show like SmackDown and Raw, but not take the guys and like expand the amount of matches. Like Raw and SmackDown usually have like 5 matches, so they could.
And I've heard a rumor that they're going to combine it with 205 Live, and Daniel Bryant is going down to 205 Live. That's a big rumor that's going to happen. That Daniel Bryant's going to go down.
What goes with 205 NXT and 205 Live?
Yeah, they'll combine them into one show. But Daniel Bryan is going to be a wrestler on 205 Live. That's what the rumor is.
Well, I could see him on NXT.
Yeah, they would put him on there because he was the king of the Indies when he was in the Indies. Because Bryan Danielson was the best.
That's not a mistake.
If they do that, I'm still not watching it. I refuse to watch it.
I'm worried that it's going to change what NXT is. And instead of NXT being this cool little almost indie thing with super cool WWE production value, it'll become an extension of SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah, it'll just become like Sunday Night Heat.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of right.
Yeah, all they're doing is moving it, renaming it something else, but it's the same style. To me, I'm not interested. I want to see the new style. I don't want to see the old played out stuff that somebody's controlling. I want to see the wrestlers have their creative control. Them to be them, not to be held back, not uneven booking, not so nobody can never be like The Rock or Stone Cold anymore because the owner doesn't want somebody bigger than his ego.
Are they trying to recreate? WWE's trying to recreate what they used to have?
No, they're only going to do as much as they can do, and they're only doing it because they're afraid. Well, if they take the lead and stuff, then they'll cut back on it.
Okay, so
all they're just doing it is because of the competition. They don't give a shit that we pay $9.99 a month and stuff and give us crap products. Mm-hmm. They don't care about any of that. They just want. It's all about money. It's corporate greed.
Yeah.
But like all the other companies, it's like what's good. We have all the good wrestlers. Everything is like top wrestling matches. Like every show is one of the best matches. But I want to admit something. I do watch 205 Live every once in a while just to see what could have been good if they didn't book them that. Like I'll watch the Lucha House Party and like see what they used to be and like what was good and why they do it like that. Because right now they just got a couple of Mexican dudes in masks walking out with piñatas and like the noisemakers and stuff.
Yeah, because that's Vince. He doesn't get it. And you're right.
That's good shit.
Yeah, and watching that thing Monday, I mean, I just saw the highlights. It's like, okay, you're just reminding me that you don't really have stars now. I mean, no offense. I don't feel like the WWE has stars. Like, they don't have somebody you have to see. Like, even though Chris Jericho is not going to do a lot of matches, I feel like I want to see what Chris Jericho is going to do. If CM Punk shows up and he only shows up every once in a while, I want to see what CM Punk is going to do. They've overbooked Lesnar, so he doesn't have the magic anymore. So that doesn't work anymore for them.
I want to see MJF with a microphone in his hand.
Yeah,
That's what I want to see.
there you go. It's
Because he's not being told what to say. He's going to say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah. Well, he might have to tone it a little bit down for regular TV, but he's capable of it. They're all capable of it. I'm sure there's been a lot of talks about no F-bombs, no, this and that, and they'll be a little different. But the pay-per-views, they'll be able to let loose. I mean, that's why you're getting that Havoc, Janela, Darby match coming up in that pay-per-view. It's like, get it all out of your system, boys, because we're going to be on television, and you're not going to be able to do that. Beat the hell out of each other with everything. There's going to be staple guns and everything.
Yeah. Darby Allin's going to be thrown off the Sears Tower.
Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah, they're going to go at it. I love that promo. I don't know if you guys have seen that promo where they go back. It was supposedly right after their fight on Fight for the Fallen. And they go backstage and they try to interview Darby. And Havoc comes running up to him and pushes him and says, "What the fuck?" And they start going at it. And next to Janela comes in and starts punching them all and cursing them out. And like, "You assholes, I'm 0-2 now because of you guys. I've waited like 12 years for this contract. And now I'm 0-2. Thanks a lot." And they're just like beating the crap out of each other. And I kind of like it shows losing sucks. Losing should suck more. In WWE, they lose and nobody cares.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, what do you guys think? It's funny, you mentioned New Japan. New Japan I don't consider indie. New Japan I consider a major federation that's coming in from another country. And we're getting the influx. That's the other thing WWE's competing. AAA is going to do a show at Madison Square Garden.
Here, we think of... go
and then New Japan is doing an East Coast tour. And not with Ring of Honor. A New Japan East Coast tour. They're coming. And more of us have found them and discovered them and found out it's pretty badass.
Yeah, okay. So over here, we think of those companies as indie, but over in those countries, like in Mexico, AAA is the biggest company. Everybody's excited to go to a AAA show. It's like the WWE, except it's booked correctly. It's like the dream WWE. Mm-hmm. And then New Japan is the biggest company over there. They don't think of it as indie, but in America, you think of it as indie because you have your own.
Mm-hmm. I think more fans are coming around to it and seeing it as something major. And like you said, they're not scared. Why would they be scared? You know what I mean? This is it's bonus money now coming into the States.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, if anything, the Japanese wrestlers are more prepared because those guys wrestle nonstop, as the American wrestler gets true. Like a 3-minute segment. They're doing like their short matches in Japan's like what, 20 minutes?
20-30 minutes is a short match.
And main events are usually an hour or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do that. The only guy that could, Daniel Bryan could do that.
Well, not anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, he could.
Maybe a couple of the guys that have just come up, like Black and Ricochet, they might still have that in them.
Yeah, Ricochet, yeah, because him and Ospreay, oh, wow, beautiful.
It's the same thing.
Viking Raiders, whatever the hell they're called now, probably still have that in them.
The Viking experience.
Yeah.
Viking Raider experience.
Yeah, they might still have that in them. But, yeah, the guys that have been there now on the main roster for a while, I don't know. I don't know if they can still do that. Now let's kind of maybe hit some of the things that might be bad about this. I was thinking of the Ring of Honor situation, and you were saying, like, well, let's think of some guys we could add to Ring of Honor that would fix them. And I start thinking, well, there's a bunch of great ones, but WWE has them all signed up and sitting on their bench. I am worried that WWE is taking all the talent, and it's going to hurt something like Ring of Honor and eventually hurt Impact, because Impact can't keep doing the ECW reunion tour. At some point, they're going to have to bring in new young talent. And if WWE has all the talent locked up and any other little talent, it goes to AEW or New Japan, what is Ring of Honor and Impact going to do?
I think that they both might be folding.
Yeah.
But most of those wrestlers will probably head to something like either NXT or AEW. Hopefully the better wrestlers to AEW.
But probably not.
And by better, I mean like Tessa.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
But I don't have a need for necessarily like Ring of Honor or Impact. Like I'm not okay. When we watch wrestling, I'm not in a hurry to watch Ring of Honor. I'm gonna admit it. I'm not, because the biggest draw is what, are the Briscoes on there, or Tell Me Bandito's on there, or Dragon Lee makes appearance. Then I'm tuning in.
Yeah.
But if not, those accumulate on my Fight TV app. I mean, we watch it for here, but before this, that's how it worked. MLW, I watch all the time, and that has to do with like commentating. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Because they bring in like Cornette or Tony Schiavone, and you get nostalgic, you know, and they have good wrestlers, and they're telling the story all there.
Good booking.
It's like an underground kind of thing. It's like that's how it feels. It feels like an underground.
Like Lucha Underground?
No, we don't talk about that.
Oh.
But I want to say what my dad said. He said that Ring of Honor and Impact are like folding away, but because they used to be like up there with like WWE. Well, not up there with WWE, but they used to like go at each other. But WWE could just like squash them, take all their guys. But right now they're just like they got a couple of guys left that have like long contracts with them, like Lethal and those type of guys.
Yeah, but I don't think. Do you think AEW or WWE wants Lethal? I mean, I don't want to like bag on
Not
Lethal,
anymore.
but do you think they're like lining up to get Johnny Mundo and Lethal and
No.
you know some of
I don't think so.
Elgin and
Maybe WWE.
Maybe Elgin. Maybe.
Yeah, Elgin's not. WWE might take back like Mundo or Morrison, and they probably will take if Lethal is out, they'll snatch him because that's always what they wanted, whether he was in Impact or Ring of Honor.
they'll put him in NXT though.
Yeah,
Poor
But,
Lethal
like-
or
doesn't
they would
want-
just like put him straight into the main show like they did AJ.
Oh, I
or,
doubt it,
like,
but they should. But I
but-
doubt it.
And probably put him
like
against
the
Bryan.
talented wrestlers like Tessa or the Rascals or LAX, they
That's
need to go
AEW.
to the other show.
Yeah, the young
Yeah.
guys.
Because they're young, they're up and coming, and they've have that indie draw, because that's basically AEW gets the indie fans. So you want to see the best of the indies work together under the same roof. You don't
Yeah.
want to see them working for the corporate dude.
Yeah.
Well, because like I want to say that Morrison has already all the spotlight has been used in him by WWE. Lethal has been this like everybody wants to go see Lethal has been used by Ring of Honor, and let's say CM Punk was dried out like the rest of them from WWE's spotlight, but people still want to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, one of them needs to survive, in my opinion, either Ring
Yeah.
of Honor or Impact, because there needs to be a place for these guys to make a semi amount of money, and then they keep the indie scene alive by doing indie shows on their days off. Because I think if the guys have to go completely indie, there's no home, I think it's going to suffer a little bit. I don't, you know, they need to have like some kind of guaranteed money, you know, that they get from either Ring of Honor or they get from Impact. And like you said, they can't pay them really at Impact, but at least they can pay them some. And then we have them all over the place all the time. I mean, there's constantly an indie match with great stars from both Ring of Honor and Impact. Because I don't want AEW to get bloated either. I don't want them to turn into WWE and just sign, and people never get on TV. You know, you can make that mistake really easy too and get too many guys. I want to see them put the effort, like you said, into MJF,
I wanna
into
see that-
Jungle Boy, into whatever. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to build these guys up.
I want to say that they won't end up, well, maybe like years and years from now, but right now they've got some of the main guys in wrestling are wrestlers. Like WWE, Vince McMahon wasn't a wrestler, so he didn't know what to do. But like the elite with like Cody and Kenny and the Bucks are like up there with the company.
Yeah.
So they get to make some decisions, which
But if if one of them folded, all of a sudden you have 20 wrestlers on the free market. You can't sign them all. There's no way. So someone's going to be without a job, even including New Japan. Japan's not going to take just whatever cast-offs. They're probably the pickiest of the three, I would say.
You have to wrestle to be in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see a guy like Jeff Cobb that has somewhat of talent, but then he's struggling a bit there.
Well, he seems to enjoy it though, but like you've seen him this week on Ring of Honor, he was like a mess. They were all scared of him, but he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I think he does enjoy it. I think he would be a good NXT guy, actually, Cobb. I think that's one thing I'll give WWE credit is they do know how to do big guys well. They could book him really good. They could turn him into a monster.
But then they forget about him and he sits the bench like Rusev.
Oh, no, they'd feed him to Reigns and then he'd sit the bench to Rusev after they were done feeding him to Reigns. Yeah, that's the bad part. But it makes a living. I'm talking about the scenario if there's no ROH, you got to go somewhere.
Hopefully it goes down in Japan.
So.
Well, if they did blow up, I think the winner would be MLW adding some more people.
Yeah. Like the three most indie people we're talking about is Impact, Ring of Honor, and MLW. And out of them, I think the other two are going down and MLW's like getting bigger.
Mm-hmm. Or does someone like one of those West Coast ones grow all of a sudden? Just blow up? Like what's Janela's?
GCW?
Uh-huh. Would they all of a sudden just pick up a lot of people and get bigger or something, you know?
That's a lot of GCW's like hardcore stuff.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Although it's on tonight, and I think Orange Cassidy's wrestling in it.
I don't know how that works out, but if that's what you just said it was, I think it is like just guys that can't really wrestle, so they do hardcore, like ECW was, well, not including like Eddie and those guys, but like Raven and like Tommy Dreamer, they could let their main move is a DDT, and then they just do a bunch of hardcore stuff.
But those guys got popular. Those guys got real popular. Raven was super popular at his peak. There was a bidding war for Raven for sure. There's no doubt about that. Shane Douglas had his little cup of coffee, but he was supposedly difficult, so he got sent back. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. You mentioned that MLW has that deal with that Japanese promotion. Funnel that talent in, man. You got to keep funneling it in. They're making deals with Mexican wrestlers. They're making deal with Asian wrestlers. That's the trick, man. You got to keep bringing in that talent, and they should be fine. They have TV too. That's the other thing. Impact and Ring of Honor don't really have good TV. No. And I don't think you're going to be able to survive without it. I don't. I mean, we're willing to put up with it with New Japan, but that's because the matches are good. So you're going to have to be good if you don't have TV.
Like, we spend $9.99 a month for New Japan, but it's well worth it. I mean...
Yeah, but I got to watch it on my computer, for example. You know, if that was the only way I could watch Ring of Honor was on my computer, I probably wouldn't watch Ring of Honor. The matches aren't good enough. If I couldn't watch it at my television. In other words, I couldn't...
Like you would have to for Manhattan Mayhem. You have to watch it on your computer.
No, because there's an app on Roku that's a Ring of Honor app.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, there's an actual Ring of Honor app. You can download it and you can watch it on your Roku. You can watch all that and watch the old matches and everything from Ring of Honor. But there isn't that for New Japan. New Japan only works on the stupid Fire Stick. And that's it. Other than that, you can look at it on your phone or you can look at it on your computer. So I have to sit at my computer chair. But it's worth it because I like it enough. And the quality's good enough. But I wouldn't do that. And I don't really watch Impact because we do our show on Fridays. So I'm not using Twitch.
One thing, because you said the conversation was about exciting things and things you're not so excited about. So the most exciting thing I'm looking forward to is the Super Juniors tournament in New Japan.
Yep, that'll be good. And the least exciting?
like Impact and WWE.
The Allure?
The Allure.
Yeah. Allure. All right. Well, is there anything else you guys want to add to that, or we could kind of wrap up the show for this week? I just thought it'd be fun because I think indie wrestling is changing like daily right now.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I think Joe was trying to mention is for the Super Junior match is TJP was just announced to be in it in Japan with, who else did they say? Yo and Sho?
Yo and Sho. And then the regular juniors like Kota and Osprey and.
They didn't announce their names yet.
But those are like.
He's speculating.
Those are the usuals.
He's trying to make his own dirt sheets right now.
And then before the show, it's one of Finn Balor's old partners is supposedly returning. It was before one of the New Japan shows. It was saying that he was coming back.
Oh, that's what we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the UK. There's a lot of great wrestling going on over there too, and now we can watch that. So
yeah, you can get your David Starr matches.
Who's David Starr?
You don't know David Starr?
No, who's David Starr?
He's a wrestler in the indies. He's a good wrestler, but he's like the product, David Starr. Like they'll list off a bunch of things that he says, like
his intro.
your friend's favorite wrestlers, stuff like that. You know,
his intro takes like 5 minutes just to complete.
But I think the link I sent you, the Defiant Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
I believe he was on one of those matches, and Pac was on a show within the last 2 weeks there. So that's where we used to watch like Marty Scurll and things like that before he went to Ring, or while he was in Ring of Honor. But most of the bulk of his matches were in
WCPW, which is Defiant.
And Defiant, I think, is ran by Wade Barrett.
I thought it was the What Culture guys.
No, I think one of the dudes got in trouble for harassment or something.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we could be wrong. I mean, we're not in England, so I don't have the down low. But yeah, there's some good matches there, and guys will end up being on like most of the guys. I should bring it back. Most of the guys that are on WWE NXT UK were on that show.
Oh wow!
On Defiant, and that's where like we would watch like the War Raiders and things like that. We would watch them wrestle other people, and they produced some pretty decent matches and stuff there. I'd definitely check that out. Maybe we should add that to our rotation.
It's on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
It's YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's free.
Well, maybe we could consider subbing out Ring of Honor on the bad weeks and doing that. I know it's not cool to just bag on Ring of Honor, but sometimes it is a chore to watch their show.
Well, we should watch it and like decide which one we're gonna do. Yeah. So we're still watching Ring of Honor.
Well, maybe you are.
Yeah, because he's trying to see the lure.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Joe's got a foot fetish too.
No. Got a foot fetish for the allure. Okay.
Yeah, he likes toe jam.
Mandy Leon. Yeah, very cool. Sounds good. Yeah, other than that, get ready for AEW being a real promotion. We won't be able to call them indies pretty soon. It'll be the real deal.
Cover it? Will we still cover it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely cover it until they get big time. You know. I don't know what that means exactly, but...
Do you mean like when they buy out WWE?
No, not that far. But when people actually, they become household names. But, man, it's going to be a long time before people consider Jungle Boy and MJF a household name. You know what I mean? It's not going to be right away. You know, even the Bucks are not a household name. You know, hardcore wrestling fans know them. But I bet you if you took a casual WWE fan, they don't know who the hell the Young Bucks are. Or the Lucha Bros. The Lucha Bros, are those guys with the piñatas? That's what someone would tell you.
That's messed up.
It is messed up. But
those are the same people that think Taco Bell is Mexican food.
Yep. Okay. Or Olive Garden is Italian food.
Okay, leave it alone. We leave that alone.
Isn't But like, would you count Cody as it? Like, because Cody is.
I don't know how big Cody was. It might be a generation. I think there's a certain generation that know who Cody Rhodes was, but not nearly to the level of Dustin. No. Dustin is a legit legend. They're going to know Jericho.
Yeah, but like they would know like when he was with DiBiase's son or Stardust. We should they would probably just remember Stardust.
Oh my gosh, you're just babbling.
Yeah, but see, I didn't really watch much of that when he was with that. When he
But
was
everybody
with
knew who
Stardust.
it was.
Yeah, but I didn't watch it. I didn't care for it. He wasn't big. You know, your big stars are Jericho, Dustin. I don't know who else. CM Punk, if you get him. Pac. Those are your big stars. Because I don't even think Omega's a household name. So
Maybe in Japan.
they have to introduce Omega to the world. Yeah, but the show's not in Japan. The show's on TNT. So they're going to have to introduce and sell the world on how great these guys are. Mox. Oh, of
Right.
course. Everyone knows who Moxley is. He's going to be one of the most known. So.
But they would get
Mox
a
the
little
best.
confused on the name. They would lose them on the name.
Maybe.
Like us.
That's why WWE does that. They do that on purpose because it's a fact by making you change the name. But people figure it out. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up for the day. We talked about a lot.
Let's hit our handles with the enthusiasm.
Well, I don't have a handle,
Enthusiasm.
so,
Okay, go
goodbye.
first then, Mr. Enthusiastic.
All right, everyone that wants to follow me, brother, check me out at Comics Fred. Dig it. Ooh yeah.
You gotta chill out before I hit you with the leg drop. You know,
Oh my
Andrew's
God.
not
Andrew's
breathing.
favorite finishing move.
He's not
Best
breathing.
finishing move there ever is. Don't you be messing with my leg drop. Best finishing move ever.
Oh my god.
All right. Let's
Oh,
see.
boy.
Oh, man. I can't top that. I'm at realcomics.com. That's the best I'm getting to. At realcomics.
.com.
R-E. Yeah, I don't know where
You
the
got
dot
a
com
website?
came.
Oh.
See what happens when you try to make me get excited? Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. Andrew is found at Real Comics.
Okay.
You can find the podcast at Indie Alley. You can find the Street Level Floppy Network at Street Level.
Did you just turn into a commercial producer?
Are you a hater?
Yeah.
Okay. He's a hater.
Just for you to.
You can find Joe in his bedroom after this podcast.
Oh, dang it.
Okay, and on that note, peace.
We out.
Ah.